Oh, Stuart is here. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome to the October 12th Queen City Toastmasters meeting. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. We have a number of guests here in person, and I see some guests on Zoom as well. I am Jamie Richardson, the Sergeant at Arms, and I call this meeting to order. Just a couple of housekeeping items. We're now going to direct people where the restrooms are, which are behind me, behind the stage, if anyone is looking for them. We also have fire exits at the door you came in, as well as in that corner of the room as well. So October 12th, and our theme of birthdays, I wanted to share a couple of birthdays from this particular date. Luciano Pavarotti, the opera singer, was born on this day in 1935. Hugh Jackman, the actor, was born on this day in 1968. Edith Stein, who was a philosopher, a Jewish woman who eventually turned to Catholicism and then ended up becoming canonized, was born on this day in 1891. And then Carlos the Jackal, a famous Venezuelan terrorist, was also born on this day in 1949. So just some interesting facts from history. With that, I will turn it over to our president, David Jones.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm David Jones. I am the president of Queen City Toastmasters. And we usually like to start off by introducing all of our guests, and we have a few guests online. So Elvis, do you have a moment if you could introduce our guests online, and then I'll introduce our guests here in person?
Absolutely. Good evening again, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. For those who are visiting us for the first time that are online, please identify yourself and let us know what your interest is in Toastmaster. How did you know about your club, our club, and what are you looking at achieving from attending this meeting today? So we have, it's Eula B. Is that pronounced correctly?
Definitely. Hello, greetings, everybody. Good evening. My name is Eula B. I am an area director in District 46, B21. The reason why I'm visiting your club tonight is to support my friend, Andrea. She's giving her icebreaker, and I'm here to support her tonight. I'm happy to be here. Have other obligations, so I apologize for leaving early, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're very fortunate to have you, Eula B. Thank you for attending our club today and supporting Andrea. We also have another guest, is Midori Davison. Can you please identify yourself? Midori, if you are speaking, you're on mute. Well, maybe she might be having some audio issues. And the other guest that we have, I see Eric Laxer. Would you like to also identify yourself? Tell us
Eric
your name.
Eric is a member.
Oh, Eric is a member? Oh, I'm sorry.
Eric's actually here. He's but
he?
Zoom user, I'm not sure who Zoom user is. So.
All right. Well, I think that's it for all of the members and guests online. So with that, I'll give the control back to you, David.
All right. Thank you, Elvis. I appreciate it. We do have a couple guests, and let me find my masks. I think just one guest. Yes. I'm assuming you're here to support Andrea, but you are, and just want to tell us your name and a little bit about yourself.
I'm Darlene Williams. I'm here to support my daughter, Andrea Williams, in her first time out. And that's about it.
Yeah. I didn't have anybody show up for my first speech. She's got a couple of people. That's funny. All right, with that, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to the Toastmaster of the night, which also happens to be me. And the theme for tonight's meeting is birthdays. And I did that to talk about any interesting birthday you would have had, birthday party, maybe the police showed up, maybe nobody showed up. So I just want you to be thinking about a birthday party or birthday event that you had. So I might call on you at some point to share those experiences on Zoom and in person. This past Sunday was my birthday, and it was actually a birthday weekend. It started Thursday afternoon, ended up Sunday night. Sunday night, I got home in bed about 12:30, physically and mentally exhausted. It was a very exhilarating birthday event. I didn't take a shower for 3 days. Sunday night, my dinner consisted of McDonald's. And that's because my tribe of friends and I do hiking and rock climbing and polar plunges and waterfalls and camping. And we decided, well, I don't tell anybody it's my birthday, so they didn't know it was my birthday. But they planned this 25-mile hike along the Appalachian Trail. And long story short, somehow it turned into 37 miles. So from Friday to Sunday, we hiked 37 miles up and down thousands of feet of hills. And so that was my birthday. And so it was very exhausting, and I was happy to get into bed Sunday. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and start with our role participants tonight. And the first one up is going to be Eric, and Eric is our grammarian. Eric, you want to come up and share your role with us?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My name is Eric. My role as grammarian is to listen carefully to all of the speakers and to identify any improper use of language, but also to identify any outstanding words, quotes, or phrases that people use. My role is also to identify any filler words such as so, and, or any repetitive words during a sentence that interfere with the flow of the message we're usually trying to communicate. My role is also to identify the word of the day, and you have papers on your table, and I also just put it in the chat. The word of the day is festivity, which is trying to be consistent with our theme of birthdays today. Plural of festivity is festivities, and we spell festivity F-E-S-T-I-V-I-T-Y, and festivities F-E-S-T-I-V-I-T-I-E-S. The definition is an activity or event celebrating a special or happy occasion, like a birthday with a marathon party over the weekend. An example of a sentence using that word is, when a Toastmaster completes a pathway, we can make a big party and all participate in the festivities. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I was trying to think of a birthday story when I was sitting there, and the one that comes to mind is many, many years ago, my then girlfriend, eventual wife, we were traveling through Europe. We were in college, we were backpacking, and it was before cell phones were available, and you had to book a time to call home. And so we booked a time to call home on what happened to be my birthday. You have to go to a post office and use an international phone and call home. And when we did that, my wife was on the waiting list to get into dental school. And we called my mother and spoke to her. And the first thing she said was, "Hey, did you hear Judy got into dental school?" And so it was a big celebration in the middle of nowhere in a post office in Switzerland, but it was a great birthday.
Sounds like great festivities in Switzerland, something I haven't experienced yet. And next up, and I skipped over him, so I apologize, is our motivational or inspirational speaker, Ollie Tobin. Ollie, you want to come up and do your thing?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Hello, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, mothers. I know where my mom is right now, probably at home. She's not here, unfortunately. I'm not going to send this to her though. So birthdays, happy birthday, David. He just turned 25. Okay, who has a birthday coming up? Nobody has a birthday coming up? Who had a birthday that just passed besides David? Okay, when was your birthday? Okay, happy belated birthday to you too. My birthday is actually going to be in December 20th. So If you guys want to give me a gift, my Cash App is ALITOBIN. I like cash. If you like, okay, I don't want to give money, you can go to Barnes and Noble. I'll take a gift card, or you can go get me a book. Okay, just go give me a book and I'll take that. December 20th. I want everybody to remember that. And I want a Christmas gift also. So I turned 24 in December. And then, the older I get, the more I realize I'm fighting for my time. Like, you guys know what time means? Anybody know what time means here? Somebody answered. Anybody know? That's a good one. Time means freedom. I want freedom in my life. So I'm getting older. I'm like, fighting for my time. This is why I get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, dude, the time, man, it's your most valuable asset. So the older everybody gets, I want everybody in here to be fighting for their time. You need to be able to do what you want to do, however you want to do it, whenever you want to do it. That is called options. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. Festivities. I just want to say the word. Festivities.
You threw it in there last minute. Awesome. I tried that on Stuart once. He didn't give it to me. So I remember that. I was like, no, it doesn't count. Let's see. Brittany Mack is our newest member, and she just joined, and now she's already jumping in as timer. So please welcome Brittany. Explain her role.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Mack, and I will be the timekeeper for tonight. I am new, so please have a little patience with me. But the timing allocation for tonight is as follows. I think we have 2 icebreakers, and they will be between 4 and 6 minutes. We have 1 regular speech, which will be between 5 and 7 minutes. We have the table topics portion of the night, which will be between 1 and 2 minutes. And then we have our evaluations, which will be between 2 and 3 minutes. So I will be sitting right up here up front, and I will progress through the lights as we go. Thank you.
Thank you. And do you want to show us real quick? So if they can't see it online, then I think everybody on Zoom can see it on the club view, hopefully. So, all right. And let's see, our ballot counter, another new member, and Lynn is going to attempt ballot counter. I did it last week to start off, so this will be our 2nd attempt. So we're going to let her try it out and see. And any interesting birthday stories from you?
Oh, so I don't like to celebrate my birthday. It's always a reminder I'm getting older, but I will tell the story of my mother's 60th birthday. So my mom was turning 60, and my sisters and I planned this elegant birthday party for her, sit-down dinner. And as we were getting closer to the birthday, we told her about it, and she went, no, for my 60th birthday, I want my theme to be 60 shots with Essie. She wanted, so she wanted people to come to her house and have up to 60 shots just to celebrate her birthday. It felt like she was as drunk as I've ever seen someone at a frat party. It was the wildest night. And yeah, my mom's 60. Okay. So hello, Toastmasters and guests. I will be the ballot counter for tonight. So at the end of the meeting, we have festivities of sorts where we announce the best speaker, the best table topic speaker, and the best evaluator. So my role will be to count all of the ballots and announce the winners for each of those roles. So each of you has a sheet like this on your table. At the bottom of the sheet, you'll see little kind of tear away pieces for each of those roles. As people come up and speak, I'll ask you to put down your pick for the best speaker or for best ballot counter or best table topics or best evaluator. And I will come around with this poll and collect the vote at the end of the night. That's it. Thank you.
She'll be coming around after each section. So after the 3 speeches go on, then will do that. And then table topics. So she'll come around 3 times. And then also up here on the tops, if the speakers, you want to give them feedback, your own feedback, you can write it and give it to her. Just write their name on there and they can do it. And let's see, moving right along, I believe that is it. We're going to move on to our speakers. And first up is one with the biggest fan base here. Andrea Williams. So everybody welcome Andrea Williams, a new member, and she's here to do her icebreaker. You want to put it on here? Just kind of do it here so they can see. If you want to hold this or.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, for hearing me today. Don't put baby in a box. I came in this world, this bundle of joy that everybody adored, and from my mother's cocoon of her womb. And I said, hey, world, look at me. The chocolatey brown, chubby cheek baby girl with the wiggly toes. And my mom sung, hush, little baby, don't say a word. A smile appeared on her face. It made her happy. I grew, I learned how to talk, to sing and shout. I learned how to crawl, walk, and run. Be a good little girl. Sit down. Shh, be quiet. And I did just that. Except that one day when I decided to play outside in the street with my godbrother. Have you ever made a decision that you knew was breaking the rules, but you made it anyway? Me too. At that moment, I heard my godmother's voice say, Andre, she never put the A on my name, but she said, Andre, don't let me catch you out in that street, gal. I don't got time for you to get hurt. I did it anyway. And I had a ball. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day until he touched me. Stop, no, I don't know. What are you doing? I'm telling. He said, if you tell, I'm telling you were a bad girl. And he touched me. And I learned from that day to be a good girl. I walked with hesitation. I sat down and I remained quiet. I grew up a teen and I learned I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. Learned how to sing and dance and act. I ate my tears, my fears, and all of my dreams until I became the chubby kid. I kept going, and as an adult, I auditioned for a stage play. Mama, I wanna sing loud and proud. Chubby girls can't sing on my stage. You have a beautiful voice, though. I became an accountant. I sat down and I didn't speak up for myself, less known others. And I did what I was told until the day I died. I died from fitting in the box that other people, well-meaning people, put me in. I learned to take control of my life. And I invite you, no, I challenge you and you like my cousin who's passed away, birthday was in October. I loved her dearly, but she's not here. You are. So I ask, are you sitting there feeling trapped? Have you ever asked God, why don't they just accept me for just being me? He told me, I am that I am, and you are who you are. You have to tell them that you are the chocolate butterfly. So today I ask, who are you? I don't care if it's the skin color or the size of your package. Make sure that you share your beauty with the world so that you touch them. And remember, your end is only your beginning, because you need to make you happy. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, and next up is going to be a member who has made it to his icebreaker. It's been a while, but he's had a lot of obstacles in his life, and he's here to do it. So please welcome Julian, doing his icebreaker, 4 to 6 minutes.
All right. How many of you know what the sport of powerlifting is? Please raise your hand. And I'll say that again. How many of you know what the sport of powerlifting is?
Like CrossFit or just
Sort of. So it looks like some of you know, some of you don't. So of the ones who don't, have you ever done a squat, a bench press, or a deadlift?
yes, yes.
Okay, so I think that most people probably know what the basics of powerlifting are. I'm Julian Eford, and today I'm going to give a background on the sport of powerlifting and a little bit of a personal side of my powerlifting story. Powerlifting. The objective of powerlifting is to lift the most weight you can in the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. You get 3 attempts at each lift. And in the end, you take your best lift in the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift, and you add them up to get a total. The total of your lifts will determine how well you do in the meet. And if you have the highest total in your weight class, you win your weight class. And then in the end, they will use a formula to determine who is the strongest person at the meet. And when you're doing these attempts, you have 3 judges, 2 that will look from the side and 1 in the front who will watch the front and also give you commands. And each judge will give you a light, either a white light or a red light. And you need at least 2 white lights for the lift to pass. And they're judging you based on your technique, whether you listen to commands, all those things, whether you have to do the lift properly and get 2 white lights for your attempt to be successful. So that is powerlifting. On to my story in powerlifting. So when I was in high school, I was a wrestler and I enjoyed lifting a lot. It helped wrestling, but I soon found that I liked lifting better than wrestling. And when I was a sophomore, I took weightlifting. That was the first time I really had structured lifting. And my best lifts were a 185-pound squat, a 160-pound bench press, and a 275-pound deadlift. And that was after a few months of lifting. So those are kind of my first max attempts. And from there on, I really loved lifting. I started to follow power lifters and just really got into the sport and got a lot stronger. And I continued that through high school and through wrestling. And then I continued to do it when I went to college. And when I was a sophomore in college, I thought, you know, I really like powerlifting. I've been doing this forever. I really need to get into a competition. And so I decided to enter a meet, and I was very nervous. I prepped really well, and I knew I had good numbers. I just wanted to put it down in a meet. And so the first meet I did a 500-pound squat, a 340-pound bench press, and a 520-pound deadlift. So quite an improvement from several years previous. After that, I was in love with powerlifting. I trained really hard, and I still train to this day. And that's been about 5 years ago. So I'd say in the last 5 years, there's been no more than 2 weeks that I've probably not lifted. So I'm pretty dedicated to powerlifting, and it's a big part of my life now. There's definitely other things that get in the way in my life, but I still try to get better all the time. And since then, I've done 7 competitions, I think. And I usually you don't compete. You only compete, you know, a couple of times a year because you need to really prepare for each meet. So I wanted to show some pictures of my most recent meet. In my most recent meet, I did a 640-pound squat, a 380-pound bench press, and a 600-pound deadlift. And this is my deadlift. Hopefully you can see it. That was at 600 pounds. And I have done more weight in the gym, but I usually like to talk about my competition lifts, as those are official. I'll show you one more picture. This is my best squat in the gym, and that was at 675 pounds. So just to put an image to the story. And and again, I compete at I'm around 200 pounds, so I compete at the 200-pound class or the 220-pound class. So to finish off, I just wanted to give some reasons why I really like powerlifting. It's a really simple sport, and it's something that anyone can do. You know, as long as you can squat and bench press and deadlift, it doesn't matter how strong you are or tall or fast or smart, you can powerlift, and you can always compete against yourself to get better. That's a great thing about powerlifting, and it's very cut and dry. You're moving away from point A to point B. There's no way that it's going to be questionable whether you're stronger than the next person. So it's a great sport in that way. And also, I have met some great people at my gym, including my fiance, who I'm getting married to in May, and she is also a powerlifter as well. So just wanted to share that about the sport that I compete in and a little bit about it. So thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Julian. Appreciate it. And next up, our final speaker for tonight is a member who is always doing a role, who's always involved, and he's going to be giving his second speech tonight from Dynamic Leadership, Evaluation and Feedback, which means he's going to give it. He's going to get evaluated tonight, and then in a few weeks, he'll come back and give the same speech with the little changes from the evaluation. And and it's 5 to 7 minutes. You don't know what any of that means? Yeah, come on up. Yeah, you got to give the same speech over, but whatever your evaluator tells you. So anyways, here's Sean.
Hey, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honor guests. Can everybody see me and hear me okay on Zoom? Here, I'm pretty sure. All right, I'm Sean, by the way, again. I've been with Queen City Toastmasters for a few months now, and this is, as David mentioned, this is my second speech, but it's actually my first one in person. So hopefully I also get the leniency for the icebreaker as well. And tonight, my topic is about answering David's favorite question, which is, what brought you to Toastmasters? So, well, I kind of gave David a short answer to that question, and I feel like David deserved better than that. And tonight I'm going to share a personal story, which is kind of a long-winded answer to your favorite question. So again, I'm Sean, and actually I moved from China to the US about 10 years ago. As you can see, I'm not a native speaker, and well, And when I came here 10 years ago, and I really spoke very limited English, any kind of third grader can really beat me up pretty well in the English debate, right? Like that's actually how English was taught in China. We actually practice reading, writing, listening, but not much speaking. That's what it is. Well, but fortunately, my written English was okay, and it was enough to get me into the community college. And after 2 years of community college, I kind of learned a lot of vocabulary, but my spoken English was still suffering. And I just reflected on it. I think part of it was because my family doesn't speak English, and I didn't get the chance to practice. And the other part is I was too shy to reach out to actually have a conversation with my peers. And I missed out a lot on that. And then I got an opportunity to transfer to a four-year college, and I get to move out of my parents' house, and then finally to live out of state. And well, then I made a decision I still regret till today. Guess what? I chose to live in a dorm full of Chinese students. By the way, just in case they are watching, and love you, bro. Well, still, I shortchanged myself in terms of practicing conversational English, right? And all of that kind of contributed to a debacle one day. I remember I was in a class where the research presentation was required to be part of the final exams. And thank God it was a group presentation. But I was still nervous. I still had to write down every single word that I was about to speak, and then commit to memory real hard. But I never practiced with my group. And on the actual presentation day, when my teammates started speaking, and 15 minutes later, it was about my turn, then I start by the moment I stand on stage, I feel like I was shaking already. And I was tumbling, rumbling through a few words. And then I immediately just, my brain was short circuit. And then I forgot what I was about to say. Well, it was just you can imagine the situation started developing really quickly when you were pausing for a few seconds. It felt like a century. Trust me, you don't want to be me in that situation. And you just feel like when you look into the crowds, you feel, wow, people already start frowning and then looking at you in a weird way. And some of them already start laughing. Well, it's just in that situation, actually, I still remember how to say those words in Chinese, but I couldn't use them. I was just so hopeless. It felt like when you were drowning and you saw a piece of wood just floating towards you. And at the same time, so you realize your hands are tied. And fortunately, one of my teammates came to my rescue. He kind of made a pretty logical transition from my part to his part, and then took over the whole presentation. So the moral of the story is I was too nervous, and then I wasn't fluent in English, right? I wasn't well prepared. And then I did start practicing spoken English more. And up to today, right, I feel like I'm doing okay in prepared speeches and presentations, but it still takes me 3 weeks to come up with an impromptu speech, which is why I joined Queen City Toastmasters. I want to get to the next level where I can actually run the meeting effectively and also speak to a large crowd without feeling nervous. And I mean, it's been a few months, and I feel this group is as supportive and as helpful as I imagine it to be in the first place. And hopefully with all of your help, I can reach my goal. And one last comment to close out this is if I can, for those of you who are non-native speakers, just like me, don't worry, look at me, I already did it, right? surely we can overcome the fear of second language and public speaking just by showing up here and practice. And for those of you who are native speakers, congratulations, you got one less obstacle to overcome. If I can show up and do speeches here, I'm pretty sure you have no problems with it. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Sean. So yes, you're going to get an evaluation from Stuart tonight, and whatever his thoughts are, in a couple of weeks, come back and give the same speech over, implementing whatever he said. So for those of you in the future to hear the same speech over, that's why. That's the project that he was involved in. And can I get a timers report? And when you're done with the timers report, if you want to tell us any interesting birthday stories that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So the timing report, speaker one, Andrea, you spoke for 4 minutes and 58 seconds, so you qualify. Speaker two, Julian, went for 6 minutes and 12 seconds, so that was a little too long. And then speaker three, Sean, went for 6 minutes and 27 seconds, so you qualify. And a birthday story. So I recently turned 30. And now that you all know my age, 30 these days, people seem to be celebrating them, making them a big deal for whatever reason, just an excuse to have some festivities. And my birthday was no different. I found an excuse to get a bunch of people together, travel down to my favorite place, which is Clemson, South Carolina. Got to spend the weekend there with both friends that went to school with me and friends that have never been to Clemson before. Show them around my beautiful campus, went to a football game, and just all around kind of pretend we were still in college. So it was a great time. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Mrs. Timer, and you have 2 more timers reports to do. So put 2 right here. Do them right here. Because nobody saw you over here. Nobody on Zoom. That's right. Do them right here. That's fine. And let me think. Got all that. The ballot counter is going around collecting your ballots. If you can write on there who your favorite speaker was, and she'll do that after each group of speeches. And our next speech is going to be our table topics master, Avinash. And Avinash, do you have any birthday stories you want to tell before you start your table topics?
Really, I don't have any birthday story to share, but what I can really, share with the group is the kind of enthusiasm my son has for his birthday. So he's like, kind of a person who starts counting his birthday right from the next day, So that, so for example, this year he celebrated his 14th birthday, and the next day he woke up and he tells me, Dad, I have 364 more days to go before next birthday. So it's like, he's really excited. Every every month, every weeks, he keeps counting how many days are left for his birthday. So that's something I wanted to, share with the group. He is very enthusiastic and he looks forward to the, coming birthdays. Yeah. Okay, so that was my story about the birthday. Thank you, Toastmaster David. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and respected guests. My name is Avinash Singh, and I'm going to be the table topic master for today's meeting. Let me tell you all, this is the section of the meeting where the festivities takes place. So I would request every existing members and guests to participate in this sections. So what actually happens for the benefit of guests during this sections, I'll ask questions, and questions will be related to today's theme, which is birthday. I will request people to come forward and take part and answer those questions. I promise to all of you, the questions will be really simple. Please come forward and volunteer to answer those questions. I think it will help you to test your impromptu skills. Now I have my first question ready. Looking forward, who's coming to volunteer for the first question? Anybody?
I think Rama has his hand up. Hold on. I think Rama has his hand up. A new member also.
Thank you, Rama. Thanks for volunteering for the first question.
Yes, I'm ready. Hello, Avinash. Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Question to you, Rama, is how do you like to celebrate your birthday?
Was that how do I like to celebrate? Was that the question?
Yes. How do you like to celebrate birthday?
Okay. First, thank you all, fellow Toastmasters. I will tell you how I would not have liked to celebrate my birthday. I have to go back to my high school for this story. I was traveling. I come from southern India, right, the southernmost state of India. And we were going to a wedding of our class teacher, which is further south from where I live. We were going down, we went there, we celebrated his wedding along with him, gave him gifts, everything went awesome well. That was the day before my birthday, right? And now we have to get back on the train. There in those days, train travel takes almost overnight. You board the train around 7:38 and you arrive at your city early in the morning, at 6:37. So the birthday eve, we all boarded the train. I was all excited. I wanted to get birthday wishes from all my 3 close friends I was traveling with to the wedding. And they knew that, I knew that. I was wanting to have some kind of gift from them, something surprising, right? It was in high school, right? Now I don't care much, but in those days, that was exciting. We boarded the train and break of the dawn, about 5:30, I was the first one to get up. I woke up my first friend. He woke up and gave me the cuss word. It's in my language. It's a cuss word. He said, "What's your problem?" I woke up my second friend. He gave a different cuss word. Each of them are equally brutal. And then he said, "What's up with you, dude?" I woke up my third friend. He gave the same cuss word as my second friend. I didn't want it to be like that. Then I said, "Dude, it's my birthday." "Yeah, right, we knew it. Why do you have to wake us all up at 6 o'clock for that? We'll take care of it when we get down." And that's how that birthday went. I would never forget that. This happened in my high school. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rama. Great, nice story. So let's move to the second question. Who's our second volunteer? David, do we have somebody?
Andrea has her hand up, right?
Great.
She's going to share. Here she comes.
Hello. Hi, Andrea. Can you hear me okay?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So question to you, Andrea, is what is the best and worst birthday gift you ever received?
My best birthday gift is every year. So I just turned 50, September 2nd. And so my best gift is 50 years of life. My worst gift was the flu. I was 16 and it was my 16th birthday trip to Niagara Falls. And I was sick the whole time. Everybody tried to make me feel better. My grandmother, my mother, everybody on the bus. And I was miserable, but I still managed to thank God for those moments that I was given of 16 years. At 16, it seems like your life is over when you don't get what you want. I will say at 50, I didn't get the birthday I wanted either because COVID is here. And I had to celebrate my birthday like I'm talking to you right now with all of my friends. I had to do a Zoom party. I would have loved to have everyone in person with me, but to protect my mother and to protect myself, I chose to have a safe and happy birthday.
Answers. Yeah. Great. So I have my third question ready. Do we have a volunteer for the third question? Let's see if somebody online wants to volunteer.
I'll do it.
Great.
Jennifer.
Yeah, thanks for volunteering, Jennifer. So question to you is, what do you think is the best time of the year to have the birthday?
Okay, best time of the year. So I really don't think that there is a best time of the year. I think it's really what you make of it. A birthday is unique to the person, right? So everybody has a kind of a special story of when they came into the world, right? So I think my birthday personally is in the summer, and it's in the start of summer, which is wonderful and it's great. But I feel like to say that there's a specific time of year that is better than the other, it's not really fair, because it's all in your mindset, right? If your birthday is in January and you live in a really cold place, you can create an activity or do something that is conducive to having fun, regardless of whatever the weather is like or wherever you are. So I'm just a big fan of making the best of whatever situation. And so I think the best time of year to have a birthday is whatever the day you were born, and just make the best out of it.
Thank you, Jennifer. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's so we David, I think we have asked 3 questions, and looking at time, I think we don't have time for another questions. Okay, great. So with that, I will conclude this section. Before I conclude, may I request Timer to give the timer report?
Okay, the timer reports. Speaker 1, Rama, you spoke for 2 minutes and 6 seconds, so you qualify. I'm sorry, I think that's a little long. You don't qualify. Andrea, you spoke for 1 minute, 20 seconds, so you qualify. And then speaker 3, I think, is your name Jennifer? I didn't catch it. Yes, Jennifer, spoke for 1 minute and 4 seconds, so you qualify.
Perfect. Thanks. With that, we conclude the table topic sections. I'll hand it over back to our Toastmaster. Back to you, David.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. There's good questions. And Brittany joined last week, and I didn't get a chance to brief her on the timing, but there's a 30-second buffer, 30 on either side. So everybody qualified, yeah. And then a guest we don't give timers to, and then icebreakers, pretty much we let them slide. So, and with that, we're going to go to our general evaluator for tonight, and that is going to be our VP of Education, Elvis Lopez. And Elvis, do you have any interesting birthday stories or events you want to share?
Thank you, David. Good evening again, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I don't have many interesting stories about birthday. But I would like to share that my wife is amazing at preparing birthday surprises. I typically don't remember anybody's birthdays, and I have to be remembered and reminded the dates for everybody. That includes my mom, my dad, and even my siblings. So I have my little sister who assisted me all the years and reminded me birthdays of everybody. And I have been in a lot of trouble because I have forgotten birthdays of very important people, including the closest ones. So With that, I will be your general evaluator for the night. The evaluation section is where members lift each other up by providing constructive feedback. And this section has 3 parts. One of them is I will be introducing the evaluators who will be providing feedback to the prepared speeches, to the speakers who give the prepared speeches. And the second part is I will be providing the general evaluation of the meeting as a whole. And third, I will be calling the grammarian to provide the grammarian report. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker, who will be Jennifer Farias, and she will be evaluating our first speaker, Andrea Caprice Williams. So take it away, Jennifer.
Great. Thank you, Elvis. So I'm going to be evaluating Andrea's first speech, her icebreaker. And wow, I have to say, she brought her A game. Not only did she bring a squad to support her mother and her friend, her stage presence was phenomenal. Andrea, I just love you're so dynamic, so animated, very poetic too. I felt like I was watching a drama play of some sort. So I love the energy that you brought to your story, right? And it was very festive, just to tie in sort of our theme of festivity. Another thing that I really love that you did in the way that you delivered your speech, you had great inflections. So you really kind of took the viewer on sort of this, the way that you were like using your voice was very powerful. You had great pauses, which I thought is important. A lot of us, especially I know I do it, I tend to talk really fast and ramble sometimes. So the power of the pause in communication, I think, is really important. And you did a really good job at that. And then there was a moment where it kind of went really dark and emotional, and you brought out sort of an important theme that kind of captured the viewer or the listener and the audience, which I thought was really dynamic and around, what women go through, what people go through when we're just kind of put in this box, right? Where we're not living to our true potential. And so you kind of took us in that direction. And really that was the big takeaway, at least for me, and what you were trying to communicate, which I thought was just a powerful message to kind of take away. And I loved how towards the end, you really there was a call to action, right? So you really challenged everyone to not stay trapped, right? To discover who we are and what we were meant to be. And so I think overall, you really just did such a great job. It definitely did not seem like an icebreaker. I'm so happy that you're not doing accounting anymore, because you need to be on stage of some sort. And my only feedback in terms of what I would suggest maybe for the next time is that the ending, kind of that call to action, I was on like such a high, and it was a little bit short in terms of what that impact was. So maybe, kind of flesh that out a little bit more of how, what you're really kind of wrapping everything up in your conclusion. I think that could be, a little bit tweaked for the next time, but overall it was just so dynamic, and yeah, good job. It was great. Back to Elvis.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for that evaluation. Very thoughtful and very helpful tips. Now, to continue with the festivity, I would like to introduce our second evaluator, who will be evaluating our second speaker, Julian Efford, and he is none other than our Sergeant at Arms, Jamie Richardson.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. And let me first of all say congratulations to Julian for completing your icebreaker speech. I was just there a few weeks ago, so I know what it means to put the time in and to be committed to it. So congratulations on that. I've got some feedback. I'm going to structure it across 3 different dimensions. I'll talk about some of the content and some of your word choice, right? Just what you included in your speech, your delivery, i.e. your tone and energy, and then your structure. And I'll hit both things that I thought were effective and then maybe some opportunities in your next speech. So first, from a content and word choice perspective, the theme overall, powerlifting, something I knew nothing about, right? I generally knew what it was about, but I love that you brought in that personal aspect and something that's relatively unique, because I think we all learned something out of that experience today. You did a great job of describing it in terms of what it is, how it works, how people judge it. And not only that, brought some great imagery, right? The lights that go on, I could really picture myself there kind of watching you in that moment, which I thought was fantastic. The use of pictures I thought was really effective as well. Seeing you in the moment, right, actually performing was really evocative. I like the story that you told throughout the whole speech in terms of progressing in the sport. You kind of referenced in high school what your numbers were in terms of lifting, and then as we see you at the end of that journey, or maybe it's not the end of the journey, where you are in that journey right now, how far you've come, right, and some pretty impressive weights. I think maybe you can lift all of us in this room at this point. And so that's some of the content piece. And I'll come back on some things that I thought maybe you'll work on next time. From a delivery perspective, clear and confident throughout. I thought you had good pace throughout the speech in terms of a consistent tone. As the speech went on, though, I thought you actually became more energetic, which I liked, right? So maybe it took a little time for that to come out, but that energy was really fantastic towards the end. And actually you started to smile a bit more, right? Maybe that also was associated with the pictures. So finding ways to bring that into the speech earlier, or let your emotion and your enthusiasm come through a little bit more, I think would be effective as well. And then on the structure side, you talked about what is powerlifting, how you ended up doing it, why you like it. I like that structure throughout, right, of kind of building up and sharing that journey again. So overall, great job. In terms of some development ideas, so first on content word choice, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that moment, that performance moment when you actually get ready to lift, right? What it feels like to be in that moment, what it feels like to experience it. I thought we got a lot of the technical, but maybe not so much of the emotional experience of going through something that feels pretty visceral to me. From a delivery perspective, more eye contact. So I know you were probably referencing your notes. I'm doing that as well, but to the extent that you can do that, that would be great. And then bring up earlier, maybe in the speech, why does it that you fell in love with this, right? I think we heard it at the end, but maybe at the very beginning, setting the tone for why this has become something important in your life. So again, overall, fantastic job, Julian. I can't wait to hear your next speech, and hope this was helpful. All right, back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jamie. Next up will be our next evaluator, who will be delivering his evaluation for our third speaker, Sean. Our evaluator is going to be Stuart Bryson. Please help me welcome Stuart. You're on mute, Stuart.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and our guests. I will be evaluating Sean tonight. And Sean, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that you may have to do this speech again. I didn't realize that was part of your pathways. It was very difficult to suggest changes, so you may literally have to do the exact same speech again. Overall, it was a really enjoyable speech. I felt it was a very genuine illustration of your experiences. At first, you seemed a little bit nervous. Your speech was quite quick, and you could tell from your body language that you were nervous. As your speech went on, you could see that this nervousness was completely unwarranted. Once you got the joke out about competing against a third grader speaking in English, you could see that you've physically got more relaxed and you kind of found your own confidence, and the speech flowed much nicer after that. Relaying your experiences of nervousness and freezing on stage was something that I'm sure we all found very relatable, and hearing about your difficulties in learning English and giving speeches in English was also very interesting. The structure and the flow of the speech was very good. It was very easy to follow. I wouldn't recommend any changes there. And your ending about native speakers having one less obstacle, I felt was very strong as well. If you feel like there's a part of your speech that you would drop, and I know that you were really closely timed, you could tell that you had rehearsed that and you'd got the timing down perfectly, because I think you were right on the bubble time wise. But if there was an area that you were able to drop and incorporate something else, it would be great to hear more about maybe the type of work that you do and how your speech skills are used just day to day. You know, if you do a lot of presentations, if you're on the phone all day, that sort of thing, the kind of challenges that you face now. Generally, the content was very good. My only criticism would be that you could slow it down a little bit and do whatever you can do to be more comfortable. If that means making a couple more jokes earlier on, I think that would help you get into that frame of mind a little bit easier. Overall, great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. That was another great evaluation. I would have to say that Stuart has been one of our new members, and he has been taking roles also, as well as many of the members that are in our meeting tonight, taking on roles and actually challenging themselves. And Stuart is been also giving an example of taking up roles, and now he is doing evaluation, which was also done very well with a lot of constructive feedback, as well as Jamie and Jennifer. You all three did a fantastic job at evaluating our speakers tonight. I would like to go with starting with the introduction of the meeting. I like the theme. Again, David, a great job at selecting the theme, but not only that, you challenged every one of us, every one of members and guests who did anything today were challenged with sharing something about the topic. So that forced, or not forced, but like I said, challenged every one of us to speak. And after all, that's what we are all here for, just to make ourselves better in public speaking. And it is done by practicing. So it's not only listening and others, which is also important to take the tips and learn from others, but also practicing. So challenging any and all of us to do our practicing was very well done for you, Davey, as the Toastmaster tonight. Going into the roles, I think we did it also very well. Very good job at following and filling all the roles tonight. Starting also with the inspirational thought. And Ali also gave us a very conversational, as he always does, very conversational storytelling, style with his very personal touch, and always motivational, inspirational, giving us something to take on. Very well done, Ali. The grammarian, very good use of the scenario to actually explain not only the word of the day, which was done in a very interesting way today by using the chat, and writing the explanation and everything, going into even the spelling of the word. That was actually very, very, very interesting, very good, very good thing that was done as part of the explanation of the role of the grammarian. And also, you went ahead and share your story about the festivities and gave an example of a festivity, which was also very good to enlighten the word and how to use it and use a Toastmaster example for that. So very, very well done. Brittany, timer, again, new Toastmasters challenging themselves. You did it as the first time, very, very well done. Only one thing that I would say is that as part of the timer, and when you go and explain the timing for all of the speeches, also it's good to illustrate using the lights and how the lights are turned at a specific time point, like in the table topics at 1 minute, you're going to turn green and so on and so forth. So that will be something that you could include in your next time you do the timer roll. Ballot counter, we haven't had the ballot counter in a long time. David has been doing it kind of by default in all of the previous meetings, but it was good to see tonight that we had a ballot counter also, and is one of our new members who is taking on that role. So very well done. Speakers, great job, great stories, very inspirational, very motivational, each one of them, and as well as the table topics, a great participation, very, very inspirational, very funny stories about birthdays, and good questions, Avinash, on table topics, basically supporting the theme of the night. So overall, I think we had a wonderful meeting with very good flow. And with that, I would like to call the grammarian to give us the grammarian report.
Can you hear if I just leave the mic as is? Okay. Thank you, Elvis. This is my 4th week here. Every week, the meetings keep getting better. So I'll start with the word of the day. Congratulations to those of you who used the word of the day. And I apologize if I missed anybody. It includes Brittany, Avinash. I heard Elvis use it twice, I believe. Jenny used it, and also Madeline. And Ali, I wasn't taking notes when you were speaking, and he's not here, but we'll pass the message on to him. So he may have said it, so I apologize if I missed that. The ahs and ums, if we go through the numbers, I have Brittany having said some of those 10 times, usually ahs and ums. Andrea, you spoke twice tonight. I did not count a single filler word in any of your speeches. That was amazing. Julian, I counted 10, again, mostly ahs and ums. Sean, 12. A lot of those were at the beginning, the front half of your speech. I think you became much more comfortable as the speech progressed. Avinash, 5. Rama, just 2. Jennifer, 3. Most of those were so's. Elvis, 8. Jamie, 1. Stuart, 7. And just I want to point out a couple of the interesting sayings that I heard people say. The way Andrea started her speech of that moment of silence with a little focusing breath, and then immediately, hey world, look at me. I thought the use of that term was incredible. You pulled us all in there. Sean, you said, I tried to get your quote. You were drowning and you saw a piece of wood floating toward you and your hands were tied. And that reminded me of a lot of things we all go through in life. Janie, when you were an evaluator, you said so many really good things here that Andrew brought her A game. She was very poetic. She had great inflections. That's a great word to use. And you also said the power of the pause, which I think was really great. And then just to close it out, Jamie, when you evaluated Julian, you made a point of saying how he used great imagery, which I think was really a good part of his talk. So sorry that this was a bit long, but there was a lot of good content tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Excellent grammarian report. And with that, I will give the control back to our Toastmaster, David.
Thank you, Elvis. And before we get to our ballot counter, because it'll be fun to have an actual award thing, we're going to go ahead and do our timers report for our evaluators, just to make sure everybody qualified, but I'm pretty sure they did. Madam Timer.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So the timing reports, Jennifer, you spoke for 2 minutes and 57 seconds. Jamie, you spoke for 3 minutes and 23 seconds. And Stuart, you spoke for 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So apologies for missing the buffer earlier, but you all qualify.
And now we'll have Lynn, have you counted all the ballots? All right, have Lynn come up and announce who the winners are.
So thank you, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This is a difficult job to do because I think everyone did such an amazing job tonight, but as part of the festivities, we have to have winners. So here they are. So for the best speaker, it goes to Andrea. Okay. Nice job. Our best evaluator went to Jamie. Great job. And our best table topics, a second-time winner since I've been here, Rama. Congratulations, everybody.
And I won't make you run up here, but we have an icebreaker award for Andrea for doing her icebreaker, so yay. And Brittany, did you get a new member thing last week? No, all right, this is a new member award for you. And of course, Julian, we have your icebreaker award for you. And I believe that is going to be it for tonight. It's so weird doing the ballot count because usually now I announce everything. It's great. Any announcements from any board members or anybody on the floor? No, we're running a little late, so I apologize. And does anybody want to be Toastmaster next week while we have you here? It's always good to grab it because I think Jenny's going to give a speech next week. Anybody wants to be Toastmaster? If not, we'll find one during the week. So, all right. You'll do it? All right, Stuart is going to be our Toastmaster. The theme's going to be golf. No. He'll pick the theme. He'll pick the theme, but anyways. All right, good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.